For most of us, that morning cup of coffee is non-negotiable. It is the ritual that signals the start of our day, a moment of warmth and comfort that we rely on to wake up our tired brains. We often think of coffee simply as a vehicle for caffeine, a quick stimulant to shake off sleep inertia. However, as we age, our understanding of nutrition and pharmacology must evolve. What if I told you that your morning cup is actually a highly chemically active solution, a delivery system that is currently being underutilized? There is a fascinating interaction that occurs at the molecular level when we introduce specific natural compounds to the polyphenols already present in coffee beans. We are not talking about flavoring or sweeteners here. We are talking about a concept known in medical circles as the entourage effect, where the combination of elements creates a metabolic impact far greater than the sum of its parts. Recent analysis in geriatric nutrition suggests that by adding specific agents to this daily vehicle, we can fundamentally alter how our bodies process energy, manage inflammation, and repair cellular damage. This is not about jitters or a temporary buzz. It is about leveraging your morning habit to address the specific physiological declines we face after 50, specifically regarding blood flow, insulin sensitivity, and neuroprotection. There is one combination in particular that has shown clinical promise in redefining how we view longevity and cognitive preservation. But to understand why it works, we must first understand the foundation we are building upon. I am Mr. Arthur, the great holistic health monk. I have spent over 30 years in geriatric medicine, working directly with patients to navigate the complexities of aging with dignity and vitality. My goal today is to share clinically grounded strategies that you can apply immediately. Before we proceed into the specifics, I would like to ask you to take a moment and leave a comment below. Let me know your age and where you are tuning in from today. I make it a point to read through these comments because it is genuinely encouraging to see a global community of older adults taking proactive steps toward their health. If this is your first time here, please consider liking this video and subscribing to join our community. Now, let us discuss how to transform your morning routine into a metabolic intervention. We must begin by addressing the vascular system. One of the primary challenges we face as we enter our 60s and 70s is the gradual stiffening of our arteries and a reduction in efficient blood flow, particularly to the brain. This brings us to the first significant addition to your coffee, which is raw cacao powder. I want to be very clear. I am not referring to the sugary cocoa mixes found in the baking aisle. I am referring to raw, unprocessed cacao. The medical interest in cacao stems largely from observational studies of the Kuna people off the coast of Panama. Despite advanced age, this population rarely exhibits the hypertension or vascular dementia common in the West. When researchers investigated why, they found high circulating levels of nitric oxide in their blood, attributed to their consumption of cacao-rich beverages. Nitric oxide is a vasodilator. It signals the smooth muscles inside your blood vessels to relax, allowing them to widen. This improves circulation and reduces the strain on the heart. For the aging brain, this is critical because it ensures a steady supply of oxygen and nutrients. When you add raw cacao to coffee, the interaction between theobromine, a mild stimulant in cacao, and caffeine creates a more modulated energy curve. Instead of the sharp spike in cortisol and adrenaline that caffeine alone can trigger, theobromine helps smooth out the absorption. This results in what we call a sustained release, providing mental clarity for several hours without the crash or the jitteriness that can be detrimental to older adults with blood pressure concerns. Furthermore, the flavonoids in cacao, specifically epicatechin, have been shown to stimulate brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF. You can think of BDNF as a fertilizer for your neurons, supporting the maintenance of healthy cognitive function. However, the preparation is where many people make a mistake. The bioactive compounds in cacao are heat-sensitive. If you pour boiling water directly over the powder, you may degrade the antioxidants. It is best to let your coffee cool for a minute or two, dropping the temperature below 170 degrees Fahrenheit before stirring in about 1 tablespoon of raw organic cacao. It will not dissolve as easily as processed powders, so you may need to whisk it briskly. The result is a drink that not only supports vascular elasticity, but also provides a potent dose of antioxidants, far higher than common fruits like blueberries, delivered right when your body is waking up. Once we have addressed blood flow, we must turn our attention to metabolic control. One of the hallmark signs of aging is a gradual increase in insulin resistance. Our cells become less efficient at absorbing glucose from the blood, leading to higher baseline blood sugar levels and that familiar sluggish feeling after meals. This is where Ceylon cinnamon becomes a powerful ally. Again, specificity is crucial here. The cinnamon you likely have in your kitchen cabinet is cassia cinnamon, which contains high levels of coumarin. In large doses, coumarin can be toxic to the liver, which is a risk we simply cannot take, especially if you are on other medications. We are looking for Ceylon cinnamon, often called true cinnamon, which comes from the inner bark of the Cinnamomum verum tree. The physiological mechanism of Ceylon cinnamon is quite remarkable. It contains compounds that mimic insulin at a cellular level. Essentially, it helps unlock your cells, allowing them to take in glucose more efficiently. When added to coffee, research suggests it can slow the gastric emptying rate, the speed at which food leaves your stomach. This means that if you drink this coffee before or with your breakfast, you are effectively dampening the blood sugar spike that would normally follow. For a pre-diabetic individual, or anyone concerned about metabolic syndrome, this is a significant advantage. It helps create a more stable energy platform for the day, preventing that mid-afternoon fatigue that often drives us to snack on sugary foods. Moreover, there appears to be a synergistic anti-inflammatory effect when cinnamon polyphenols meet coffee acids. Chronic low-grade inflammation is a driver of almost every age-related disease, from arthritis to Alzheimer's. By introducing an anti-inflammatory agent like Ceylon cinnamon into your daily routine, you are essentially providing your body with a daily defense mechanism. To utilize this, you do not need much. Roughly 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon is sufficient. Because the beneficial compounds are fat-soluble and fibrous, they extract best in heat. I often recommend adding the cinnamon directly to your coffee grounds before brewing if you use a drip machine or a French press. This allows the hot water to extract the medicinal oils effectively, leaving the gritty residue behind, resulting in a smoother cup that actively works to stabilize your metabolic health throughout the morning. As we continue to build this protocol, we move from the vascular and metabolic systems to the structural integrity of the brain itself. In geriatric neurology, we used to believe that the brain stopped developing in adulthood and that the loss of neurons was an inevitable, irreversible part of aging. We now know this is incorrect. The brain retains the ability to reorganize itself and form new connections throughout life, a concept known as neuroplasticity. However, to facilitate this repair and growth, the brain requires specific building blocks and signaling compounds. This brings us to a substance that has gained significant attention in neurological research: lion's mane mushroom. I want to be precise about what this is. We are not talking about a culinary mushroom used for flavor, but rather a medicinal fungus containing two distinct classes of compounds, hericenones and erinacines. These compounds are unique because they have a low enough molecular weight to cross the blood-brain barrier. Once inside the brain, they stimulate the synthesis of nerve growth factor, NGF. In my practice, I often explain NGF to patients as the biological instruction manual that tells neurons to repair their protective sheaths and form new synaptic connections. As we age, our natural production of NGF declines, which correlates with the slower recall and brain fog many seniors experience. When we introduce lion's mane extract into a coffee regimen, we are looking to counteract this decline. The caffeine in the coffee acts as a vasoconstrictor initially, but coupled with the mushroom extract, it can enhance the delivery of these neuro-regenerative compounds. Studies involving older adults with mild cognitive impairment have shown that consistent supplementation can lead to measurable improvements in cognitive scores. The key word here is consistent. By supporting the myelin sheaths, the insulation around your nerve fibers, we are essentially helping to maintain the speed of electrical signal transmission in the brain. This is vital for everything from retrieving a memory to maintaining balance and coordination, which are critical for fall prevention. However, the source of the powder is of paramount importance. You must look for a dual extract powder. This means the mushroom has been processed with both hot water and alcohol. Why is this necessary? Because some of the beneficial compounds are water-soluble, while others are only soluble in alcohol. If you simply grind up a dried mushroom, your body cannot break down the tough chitin cell walls to access the medicine inside. A dual extract ensures bioavailability. When adding this to your coffee, it adds a savory, earthy depth, almost an umami quality that counters the acidity of the bean. A dosage of around 1 to 2 grams is standard in clinical literature. But as always, we start low to ensure your digestive system adapts comfortably. Moving from the brain's structure to its energy source, we encounter perhaps the most misunderstood supplement in existence: creatine monohydrate. For decades, marketing has positioned creatine solely as a muscle-building powder for bodybuilders. This branding has done a disservice to the geriatric population. In reality, creatine is an organic acid that plays a fundamental role in energy metabolism for all cells, particularly those with high energy demands, like the brain and the skeletal muscles. As we age, we face two parallel declines: sarcopenia, the loss of muscle mass, and a reduction in cognitive endurance. Creatine addresses both of them. At a cellular level, your body uses a molecule called ATP, adenosine triphosphate, for energy. When a cell works, whether it is a muscle cell lifting a grocery bag or a brain cell solving a crossword puzzle, it burns ATP. Creatine's job is to rapidly recycle that used energy back into fresh ATP. It is essentially a backup battery. For older adults, this is crucial. We often see mental fatigue where focus drifts after a short period of concentration. This is often a sign of declining cerebral energy reserves. Clinical trials have demonstrated that creatine supplementation can improve working memory and processing speed, particularly in older individuals. Furthermore, there is a protective aspect. By keeping cellular energy levels high, creatine helps prevent excitotoxicity, a process where neurons become overstimulated and damaged. When combined with coffee, there is a beneficial synergy. Coffee increases alertness, while creatine provides the fuel to sustain that alertness without the cellular burnout. Now, there is a common myth that creatine damages the kidneys. I want to reassure you that for an individual with healthy kidney function, creatine is one of the most studied and safe supplements available. However, if you have pre-existing chronic kidney disease, you must consult your primary care physician before adding it. For the general older population, the standard dose is 5 grams, or about 1 teaspoon. It does not dissolve perfectly in liquids, so stirring it into hot coffee helps, and the slight bitterness of coffee masks its chalky texture. One thing to note is that creatine pulls water into your cells. This is a good thing. It is called intracellular hydration, but it means you must ensure you are drinking enough water throughout the day. You might see the scale go up by a pound or 2 in the first week. Do not panic. This is not fat. It is water weight in the muscles, which actually makes them function better and protects against injury. We have covered vascular flow, metabolic stability, neurological repair, and cellular energy. Now, we must address the fundamental biochemistry of aging and longevity. As we advance in years, our bodies become less efficient at clearing out damaged cellular components and synthesizing the structural proteins that hold us together. This brings us to our final and potentially most profound addition: glycine. Glycine is an amino acid, often categorized as non-essential because our bodies can produce it. However, non-essential is a misnomer in the context of aging. Research suggests that modern humans run a significant glycine deficit, roughly 10 grams a day short of what our bodies need for optimal repair. In the past, our ancestors practiced nose-to-tail eating, consuming connective tissue, skin, and bone broth, sources rich in glycine. Today, we eat mostly muscle meat, which is high in a different amino acid called methionine. An imbalance between high methionine and low glycine mimics the biological signals of aging. By adding glycine back into our diet, we are essentially restoring a more youthful biochemical balance. One of glycine's most critical roles is as a precursor to glutathione, the body's master antioxidant. Glutathione is the primary defender against oxidative stress in the liver and the brain. As we age, our natural glutathione levels drop, leaving us vulnerable to cellular damage. Glycine provides the raw material to ramp that production back up. Furthermore, glycine is a primary component of collagen. We often hear about collagen for wrinkles, but as a doctor, I am more concerned with the collagen in your joints, your heart valves, and the lining of your arteries. Supplementing with glycine has been shown to stimulate collagen synthesis, helping to maintain the integrity of these tissues. But why add it to coffee? Interestingly, glycine acts as an inhibitory neurotransmitter in the brainstem and spinal cord. It calms the nervous system. When paired with coffee, it creates a unique effect. You get the alertness from the caffeine, but glycine smooths out the edges, reducing the anxiety or jitteriness that some seniors feel. It promotes a state of calm focus. There is also a compelling link to sleep quality. While we typically avoid coffee before sleep, the glycine you consume in the morning builds up in the system to help regulate your body temperature later at night, facilitating the transition into deep, restorative sleep. This is where the body clears out metabolic waste products from the brain, including beta-amyloid plaques associated with dementia. Therefore, consuming glycine is a 24-hour investment in your health. It is also the easiest powder to use because it is naturally sweet. It can replace sugar in your coffee, dissolving instantly and providing a pleasant taste without spiking your blood glucose. A dose of 3 to 5 grams, about 1 heaping teaspoon, is generally effective. Now, I realize I have presented a significant amount of information, and the idea of adding 5 different powders to your morning cup might seem overwhelming. My advice is to not rush. You do not need to turn your kitchen into a chemistry lab overnight. In medicine, we follow the principle of start low and go slow. I recommend choosing one of these interventions that aligns most closely with your current health goals. If you are concerned about blood sugar, start with the Ceylon cinnamon. If you feel your memory is not what it used to be, perhaps investigate the lion's mane or the cacao. Listen to your body. Monitor how you feel 2 hours after your coffee. Do you have more sustained energy, or is your digestion improved, or are you sleeping better? These subjective markers are just as important as clinical data. Remember, the goal of geriatric health is not just to extend the lifespan, but to extend the health span, the number of years we spend living independently, vigorously, and with mental clarity. The science tells us that we have more control over our aging process than we previously thought. It is not just about genetics. It is about the daily inputs we provide our system. By reimagining your morning coffee as a functional therapeutic tool, you are making a small, consistent investment in your future self. I hope this information empowers you to take that next step. Please remember to share this video with friends or family members who might benefit from this knowledge. It is never too late to optimize your health. Thank you for your time, and I look forward to reading your comments and seeing you in the next discussion.